Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Creativity in business. Our course is critical thinking and scientific research. This video is to give a course overview. The main topics, the outline of the course. And the first slide we have here, these are the topics we are introducing and discussing, explaining in this course, inshallah. We will have an introductory chapter to creativity in business, and then blocks to creativity, the second topic, and then theories of thinking in general and creativity. Chapter 4 is stages 1, 2, 3 of a cycle we will study, inshallah, about creativity that has objective finding as stage 1, stage 2 fact finding, and then problem finding as introduced in our main textbook of the course. Chapter 5 we will explain or a brief about morphological analysis and related techniques. Then chapter 6 we will exercise and get some training about brainstorming and its variants, the most famous technique in creativity and idea finding. And then the second part of our course will be about scientific research. We will have only 2 chapters, Basics 1 and Basics 2, in which we will introduce the main research cycle stages. Let's quickly introduce each chapter. Chapter 1, introductory. In the following slide we introduce the textbook. This is our main textbook of the chapter for Tony Proctor. The text title is a creative problem solving for managers. The edition we have, I think edition number 5, 5th edition, 2019. We will also use practical research planning and design for Lilia and Ormond. And some parts of the chapter of our course we will introduce philosophical critical thinking from this text, Introduction to Logic and Critical Thinking, for CRIV 2019. And these are our main textbooks. Other supplementary material will be introduced in our lectures. Let's have a quick look about the chapters without details, of course. Chapter 1 we will give introduction. We will define creativity, the different notion of how ideas arise, why it is important, why important in paradigm shifts, also the main characteristics of people that have creative thinking, and how can we develop creative skills. So this is chapter 1. Chapter 2 is about the blocks of creativity, the barriers that prevent us from being free to find new thoughts and creative acts. The first one is mindset, especially the fixed mindset. 2 categories of blocks we will discuss, personal ones and organizational ones, and then in the end we will talk about a methodology, a model for problem solving for Newell and Simon, 3 stages of problem solving, and where blocks can affect these stages of problem solving. Chapter 3 we will have different theories of creativity and creative thinking. The whole brain model, the 2 halves, that our brain are 2 halves. So one is emotional and the other one is logical. Herman and Wallace models of creative process, divergent and convergent thinking, conditions of creative thinking, and some other theories of creative problem solving, like grace, accident. It means that creative thoughts come by accident, by chance. Cognitive theory, cognitive thinking, and the others. at the end of the chapter, inshallah, we will discuss how brains process information. A part of this chapter will be shifted to chapter 4, which is about creativity problem solving stages. And then in chapter 4, after introducing creativity problem solving stages, 6 stages, we will talk specifically, or we give more emphasis about the first 3 stages: objective finding, fact finding, and problem finding. When we introduce each of these stages, we will concentrate on tools used for each stage. For example, objective finding, we will have SWOT analysis as a tool or a technique used for that. Fact finding, we will have these 2 tools. And then in problem finding, we have too many tools categorized into 2 categories: redefinition approaches and analytical methods. That was chapter 4. Chapter 5 is about morphological analysis and related techniques. Morphological analysis, we will have checklists, attributes listing. It's whenever our problem needs a list of items that need to be checked in order to be comprehensive, covering this problem or something. And the same with attributes. We use this for idea finding stage here, and it helps us find ideas for each component of a problem, or especially big examples for this is to develop a new product that has components. Morphological analysis as well, it's how the problem shape is. You see here this little picture shows you that we describe a problem as if we are describing a plant like this, and have some stimuli to come up with ideas, like having treasures, ideation technique, component detailing, and matrices and stuff like this, in order to help use morphological analysis to come up with new ideas. Last chapter we will take from the first textbook for Proctor is brainstorming, the famous brainstorming technique sessions, and how we get these yellow notes, sticky notes, and come up with ideas. We will have classical brainstorming and the different variants for brainstorming as we see here. We will discuss rules, classical rules, and the process stages of brainstorming, and the different variants of brainstorming in order to suit different situations or different problems, like wildest idea, stop and go, which has some rests or breaks between sessions, round robin, which make people in a session come in turns, like this, Gordon Little, which inspire people by having some dreamy start for the session, and then treasure method, which is used to stimulate or inspire people for coming up with ideas in difficult problems. Then the other or the second part of our course is about research, scientific research. Our main concentration, because it's only 2 chapters, we will have as introduction for those who haven't had research before. We will introduce a cycle of research that has stages like this: research problem, goal, sub-problems, hypothesis, data gathering, data analysis, finding, interpretation. Chapter 1, we will discuss and explain how do we tackle a specific research problem, specify goals, which mean end results of our research efforts, divide such problem aspects into sub-problems in order to make our research manageable. How do we direct research? By having specific hypotheses to be tested, and main effort in any research is in data gathering. Part of them we will talk about literature review and so on. In chapter 1 we will have only these first 4. The following 3 here we will have them in research basic 2, which will concentrate on data gathering. Part of it will be literature review, reviewing all the previous studies in a topic. And how do we collect field data by different techniques like questionnaires, observations, and so on. Then we will talk about data analysis. How do we find meanings of data in order to find meanings for data, preparing for the final part of the research, which is interpretation. You need to introduce the meaning of what you have analyzed and gathered. You add from yourself in order to present conclusions in the end, and then summarize the whole work in the end, in the final part of your research. That was the last chapter we have in our course, which has these 8 chapters. The biggest part is about creativity in business, and the second part is about scientific research. Thank you.